Okay, so I have my contact paper here and I have my stencil here. I'm going to cut my contact paper to the size of my stencil. I'm going to separate the contact paper from the release paper here. So now it's separating. You then apply it to your stencil. I'm going to try to do this without a credit card because I left my purse out in the car. But you need to burnish it really well. And then I always turn my stencil upside down and peel from the back side. Maybe. Okay. So now they're separated and I'm going to peel it. Again, I didn't use a credit card, so it's not peeling as easy as it should. So now the stencil is just on the contact paper and it's no longer on the stencil backing. Here's the piece of wood I'm going to apply it to. You just put it on there as you would. Rub it on there pretty well. And then this time you're going to peel the contact paper off. And that comes off better than the original backing of the stencil. Okay, contact paper is off. Here's my stencil now applied to the board. Take your Mod Podge and you're going to take your brush. This is almost empty. Okay. That here on this brush is too much. You're going to wipe some of it off. And what you see there on the tip is going to be plenty. So you're going to take your brush and you're going to go against the stencil to create a barrier. These letters are smaller, so it is actually filling it in, but you don't want to just do this because by doing that, you're not actually sealing it. So go both directions against the stencil. I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a white base right here that you can see. That's what you're trying to build. And as I told you, it does take time. This is the most time-consuming part there is. And then you need to wait. This is what it's going to look like. This area, the E and the L, do have Mod Podge on it. That area is already drying. Okay, the stencil is dry for the most part. I now have my paint and my little dispenser. This is what I use with me at parties. You only need a little. That is probably still too much. I use a makeup sponge. I dip it in there. And if your sponge looks like that, that is too much. You need to sponge some of it off on the sides. And it should be flush. You're then going to go over it. The lighter the coats, the better. As I always tell a guest at my parties, I'd rather you do 10 light coats than 1 or 2 heavy coats. The heavy coats will not dry and they will remain tacky. Now I can probably go back to the beginning again. And that looks like it's got pretty good coverage. So we're going to wait for that to dry. As you can see, I still have all of that paint left. It is still wet, but looks as if we can peel. So I just lightly pull up my stencil. And then I need to weed out the center pieces. With it still wet, I usually use tweezers. So I'm gonna go grab those. I use normal tweezers that you would use on your eyebrows. You're going to grab the center pieces and pull it up. This wood is not stained. I aged the wood myself. And there you have it. A crisp, clean stencil